Everyone. Good morning, Adam from ECU. We're very happy to have you with us for the second year, and it was a great privilege. And I would like to thank you very much for the career assessment test that you provided last year for me and for the students, and for the amazing training. And we are very happy for a collaborative, non-stop cooperation with you and with ECU. Thank you very, very much for being with us this early in the morning. I don't know what time is it in Australia. Maybe it's 12 noon.
It's actually 5:30 in the afternoon where I am.
Okay, so the end of the day now.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having us. Then the mic is yours, and you feel free to do the presentation.
Thank you very much, Mira. And for me, I feel it's a pleasure for me to be here as well. This came about because I did a workshop with an agency a few years back in Amman, and Mira was part of the group, and that's how we got to know each other. So I'm more than happy to do this. It's great. I really I do a lot of this type of work, but I really get a sense of satisfaction doing what I'm doing now, because I feel like I'm getting right into the grassroots and spreading some information. I am going to talk about ECU. So I guess this is the first session of the NOS University Fair. So another privilege being number one. I'm going to talk about my university ECU, but look, a lot of it applies. You could actually, the information I give would be relevant to, pretty much any university in Australia. And where I can, I'll talk a little bit about, not just ECU, because in actual fact, ECU is in Perth, which I'll show you. But at the moment, I'm in Melbourne, which is my home city. We came here before the pandemic for a few reasons, and we haven't been able to get back to Perth because of internal borders being closed in Australia. So I'm actually in Melbourne, which is another, probably one of the biggest cities of Australia. So, and I interact with the university people from this side as well. So anyway, I'm going to talk about ECU, but, look, I will try and give some other information as well. So that's me. My title is International Account Manager. So I look after different regions for ECU in the world. And for me, it's, I have the Middle East. So I've been to Jordan quite a few times. I have to say it's probably, it is my favorite country in the region. I love when I'm going from country to country. I always love flying into Amman. I've been to Petra. I've been to the Dead Sea. I feel like I have Jordanian friends, so it's definitely somewhere I feel comfortable. And it's just my feeling, I feel like our cultures are similar. I feel like the Jordanian culture is a bit laid back. People are a bit more relaxed and easygoing. Like this. I feel very comfortable when I'm in Jordan. So yeah, I feel like there's some similarities. That's my email address. You're welcome to grab a snap if you've got your camera with you. Otherwise, you can speak to Mira. She can give that to you as well. But you're more than welcome to email me anytime. So you might know that's one of our native animals. It's called a koala bear, and in Australia we call each other mate. So g'day mate. So it's how we use the word friend, is mate. So I love it when people that have come from other countries have been for a while in Australia and they start using the word mate. It always makes me smile. So those are the things I'm going to cover today. So ECU, we're actually on the west side of Australia, and we're in the city of Perth. Perth is actually the closest city to you of all the Australian cities by quite a bit, actually. So to fly from Jordan to Perth in normal times, you can go through you can probably go through either Qatar or through Dubai on Emirates. So you know how far it is to Dubai from Amman or from Jordan. And then from Dubai to Perth, it's about 10 hours direct flight. So we're the closest in terms of time. So I'm in Melbourne and I'm 8 hours ahead, but actual Perth, and we're 3 hours ahead of Perth. So it's quite a big time change even in Australia. So Perth is 5 hours ahead of Jordan in terms of time. So it's not that much, when you think about, sometimes there can be big time differences compared to where you are in the world. So between Jordan and Perth, it's 5 hours. Perth is a wonderful city in Australia. I'm actually originally from Melbourne. I am here now, but I tell you what, after all the lockdowns, and it's been pretty dismal here, I'm really looking forward to being back in Perth. Perth has, it's quite amazing, but well, the whole of West Australia has pretty much come through the pandemic COVID-free. There was some virus floating around maybe a year back, but they've had a normal life, which is just phenomenal. I'm sure, I'd say it's probably a very unique place in the world. They have used their isolation because it is isolated, so they've used that to their advantage, and they can control, who can come into the city. But so they've had a normal life, and in actual fact, in the last 2 years, Western Australia is the only state. Well, last year, Western Australia was the only state in Australia to report a surplus in terms of budget, and this year, the surplus was way higher than the other state in Australia. The reason being is that Perth, Western Australia, is very rich in mining and oil and gas. So there's been big demand on iron ore from China. So there's been like a bit of a mini boom going on, which is just unbelievable in the current sort of world economy. And that's actually the price of iron ore has dropped now, the demand's dropped. But I read on the news that there's now the demand, or the price of natural gas is going up. Okay, so due to the world economy, and 80% of oil and gas in Australia, especially gas, comes from Western Australia. So it seems like we're now going to go into the mini boom's going to keep going now possibly on the back of gas. Okay, because there's a lot of natural gas that comes out of Western Australia. So times are great in Perth. The only problem is nobody can get it, including me. But look, things are changing. I'll talk about that. So it's a lovely city. It's very safe. It's got a population of 2 million people. It gets the most sun of any city in Australia. It's very healthy. It's a very outdoor life. A lot of like barbecues and people getting together. Very high quality of life in Perth. Beautiful beaches, short winter, long summer. It's a really good city. And I'm pretty sure in terms of the ranking of cities, it's actually gone up over other places like Melbourne and Sydney, just because the life has been so hard in Melbourne and Sydney because of the pandemic. So I believe that Perth actually ranked higher in terms of, livable cities. So it's a great place from a city point of view. But the other cities in Australia are really good too, I have to say. Like, I'm in here, like Melbourne in normal times is great. Sydney's getting through the pandemic. So, I mean, all the cities in Australia, are good cities one way or another, okay? They're all safe. They're all, they've got good infrastructure. There's accommodation. They're easy to get around. They've got everything that you need. They have entertainment. They have everything. So with WA at the moment, it has one of the lowest employment rates. The wages in Western Australia are on average higher than other parts of Australia. And I know because I'm in Melbourne, and I mix with Melbourne people doing the same sort of work. And I know that I'm getting paid quite a bit more than them just exact for the same sort of work. So because I get paid out of Perth. I mentioned about the economy. So the economy is doing really well. I talked about, 6 of the 10 top energy companies, for example, GE, Rio, GE, General Electric, oil and gas. I'm trying to think of them now. Chevron. So all those big sort of multinationals, Woodside, which is an Australian company, they all have their head offices in Perth. We do have like a large, one of the largest medical treatment and research centres in the Southern Hemisphere, which is, so it's not just, energy and mining. We have other areas as well, like agriculture. In normal times, tourism is really strong in WA, and education as well. And also, the government's got a bit of a program at the moment trying to get people, like migrant people, sort of away from the big cities, like sort of Sydney, Melbourne. So they actually have this thing called regional status. Doesn't mean that Perth is like a regional place, it's a city, but it has regional status. And what that means is if you do 2 or more years of study in Australia at a university, 2 or more, it means you get to be able, when you finish, you can stay back on a post-study work visa for up to 2 years, okay? So say you're, someone at NOS comes and does like a 3-year degree, all right? So what they can then do is that they can graduate, and then they can normally it's 2 years that they can stay back and work. And then, from there, all sorts of things. Either they can go back into more study, or maybe they might try and get some migration, or, there's different things you can do. But in Perth, which is regional, it's actually 3 years of post-study work. So PSWR is post-study work rights. So in Perth, if you do 2 or more years of study, you can stay back 3 years on a post-study work visa. And then after that, like I said, you maybe go on to do masters, or you may get sponsored and, have, an employer might sponsor you so that you go into a different type of visa as opposed to a student visa or a post-study work visa. So it's a benefit of regional places, but there are other regional places, not just like Wollongong, which is out of Sydney, Newcastle. It's pretty, if I can tell you this, then you'll know. You can actually ask maybe if somewhere is regional or not regional in terms of, from a sort of post-study work visa point of view. So other things about Perth is that students get a concession on the public transport. And I won't go too much into the thing, but basically it's quite unique in Australia that if you are a post-grad student and you've got school-age dependents, so if you're a family person, those school-age dependents can actually go to government school for free in Australia, or the fees are waived. They don't have to pay international student fees as if your parents, so the mum or dad are doing a postgrad course like master or PhD, and they've got the kids, the fees get waived for the kids. And I can tell you the standard of even the government school standard in Australia is excellent. It's top notch. My kids both go to government school, and they actually had the experience of an international school overseas. And I can say even the government schools in Australia provide, I believe, a better quality of education, a quality of service than an international school that we were at. So here's just some. These are just some photos of Perth. That's downtown. That's in East Perth, which is sort of like a residential area. That's Kings Park, is a famous part looking over the city and the Swan River. So you can see, you can see the blue skies, and it just gives you an idea. This is a very famous beach called Cottesloe Beach. That's the Indiana Tea House, where people go and have a coffee or some lunch or ice cream. Look how clear the water is. It's crystal clear. Most likely outside it might be 30 degrees, 35 degrees, and that water is just so refreshing to jump into when, during summertime. So I'm feeling a bit nostalgic right at the moment, because outside here it's grey, and, we're in sort of lockdown at the moment. So that's a bit of an idea. Off the coast, there's an island called Rottnest Island, which is very popular. There's no cars. You can ride around, or you can take buses, and there's beautiful little beaches all around the island. And that little animal is called a quokka, which is unique to that island, and it's become very popular to take selfies with the quokkas. So famous people come and do it now too. And if you can get the quokka to smile, that means you've done very well. So they try and work out how to make the quokka smile by giving it some food or something like that. So Rottnest Island. So plenty to do in Perth. And also outside Perth as well, down south, to the east of Perth, up north, there's plenty of places. There's wine growing areas. There's boutique tourist spots. So, if your kids are there, and you come and visit, there's more than enough to do. You can go north to places like Broome, and there's even a reef. People know the Great Barrier Reef on one side. We actually have a reef, a natural coral reef as well, which you can go snorkeling on. So plenty to do in Western Australia. There's no shortage of things to do. Okay, so we're the only university to be named after a woman in Australia, and her name was Edith Cowan. She was alive about 100 years ago, and she was the first woman elected to a parliament. And she was a champion for education and women's rights, and basically empowering women in the society at that time. And she's on our $50 note as well. So we're very proud that it's very proud for us, all of us that work there and associate with ECU, that we are the only university to be named after a woman. We were established in 1991, so we're still quite new. Okay. So that's you can see some campus photos of ECU. We do have 3 campuses, and I will show you, if I go back here. So the main campus is Joondalup, which looks far from Perth, but it's not. It's only about 30 minutes by train, so it's not far. I mean, there is some distance, but it's a very relaxing train trip from Perth. Joondalup itself is a centre, like a satellite town. My house in Perth is between those two cities, between Perth and Joondalup. So I live in between, and I ride my bike to work. It's 10 k's. It takes me about 30 minutes to ride to work. Beautiful, up to Joondalup. So that's our main campus, but we've got another campus in Mount Lawley, which you can see there, which is about maybe 10, 15 minutes by bus from the city centre. That's where we teach things like arts, and we have performing arts and also English. That's actually being closed down and being moved to the city centre in 5 years or so, 2025. We're actually going to have a purpose-built campus downtown in Perth, the first university to have such. And we've got another campus down south in Bunbury, which is more to sort of service that part. So we have some international students there, but that's mainly like people that live in that area. So across those campuses, we've got more than 31,000 students, and of those, we've got around 6,000 international students, and we've got over 140,000 people that we've graduated from ECU globally as well. So there we go, and we'll go through again those ones. So that's the Joondalup campus. Again, just note the beautiful blue sky, clear sky. That's really what it's like. So just some reasons to study at ECU. So most of our courses are internationally recognised. For example, engineering has like domestic accreditation, international accreditation, but generally it says internationally recognised, but all our courses will be, if they need some sort of accreditation, project management or engineering or nursing, they're all accredited by domestic bodies. We're very well linked with industry. We've got fantastic facilities that are very modern. We have a very big focus on applied learning. So what that is definitely there's all the theory and everything and the labs and so forth, but many of our courses have some sort of what we call work integrated learning at the end. So that could be like an internship, that could be like a industry project the students do in conjunction with industry, or some sort of practical application at the end with the idea that will help them into a job. Okay, that's a really big focus. But the wonderful thing about ECU, what I love, and this is someone who's worked in different universities in Australia, is that it's a very supportive place. It's very friendly. If students have an issue, I no doubt 100% they will find someone to help them, be it their lecturer, be it the school administrator, someone like me who works in the international office. There is always someone that will help students. So they'll always, one way or another, if they have an issue, they'll resolve it. And we'll always try and resolve it, obviously, in the best way for the students. So it's really important thing about ECU. And I think, like, especially families, kids far away, you can definitely feel comfortable that it's not like they're not getting lost in a system or they're just a number. They're a student and they'll be looked after. Okay, it's almost got a bit of a big family element about it at ECU. I mean, it's a university by all means, but it just has that aspect to it of caring, support, concern, concern for students. So it's, I think it's great.
Adam, can I take a moment? Everyone, would you please open the cameras so we would just take a camera shot? We have Miss Carla with us. Carla. So please إذا ممكن الكل يفتح الكاميرا علشان كارلا تقدر تاخذ صورة وبعدين تقدروا ترجعوا تسكروها. Just 1 minute. Thank you. اوكي كارلا ممكن تاخذي الصورة بتزبط معك؟
Yes. يلا 1 2 Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Adam, back to you.
Okay, no problems. I'm about 2/3 through, so yeah. So look, in terms of rankings, look, we're still a new university, and you'll find there's some universities in Australia, for example, the University of Melbourne, that rank probably in the top 50 in the world. So we're still developing our ranking, but we're definitely going forwards and not backwards. So we're now ranked in the top 500 according to Times. You know, young universities were in the top 100. There's a ranking called QUILT, which is a government ranking that the government does, and you know, it's for all the public universities in Australia. We've actually ranked top for either our teaching quality or our student experience over the last 6 years. So look, a degree, an ECU degree, is only going to go up in value over time. Like, we're definitely not going backwards. So I always say it's going to be like a good investment. Okay, it's not, you know, you do your degree at ECU and then like in 10 years the rankings will have only have improved. So, but we're happy with where we sit at the moment. We are moving more into research now. We're going from like a teaching university and expanding our research. And when we expand our research, you know, that's where you really start to come up in those global rankings. So that's that. So I mentioned about work integrated learning. I won't go into it, but it's, you know, it's just something we have. Like, we've got film and TV studios for those courses. Now, we've got a big range of courses, but these are some of the popular courses that we have. What we don't have architecture, we don't have medicine, we don't have pharmacy, we don't do veterinary science. So there are definitely some courses that we don't have, but then there's others that we do, and I'll talk a bit about those just as a snapshot. And those are some new courses that we're having in 2020, 2022. Oops. Oh, that's our city campus, which I mentioned before. That's like what it's going to look like, our new campus. It shows you, you know, just a bit of an idea of what it's like in downtown Perth. Those are our different schools that we have. So we've got 8 schools. So these are the arts and humanity courses. So, you know, like a Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Design, Media Communications with the different specializations. We do things like counselling and social science and social work. And we also have psychology, criminology, and different combinations of those. So those, I find that especially psychology, criminology tends to be a course of interest for young people. But, you know, so we have plenty, again, like I said, all practical, hands-on. If they do these courses, they're going to learn skills that will get them into industry, you know, at the end, or start their journey. We've got a School of Business and Law, and those are all the different types of programs. So, you know, basically a Bachelor of Commerce, you can pick and choose the different majors and minors that you want to do. So that shows you the selection of the ones available, so you can combine them. There's some standalone degrees. We also teach law, so it's a 4-year degree, and you can actually work as a lawyer in Australia at the end of that. So that's that. Engineering and technology. Now, for engineering, we actually rank the top 175 in the world, according to the subject ranking for engineering, again with Times, which is great. So engineering, we have those all the different engineering degrees that you can do for undergraduate. They're 4 years, okay, and within that, all students need to do a 12-week practicum or placement. It is up to the student to find that, but of course, you know, there's someone in the school that will help students to find that practicum. Now, besides, this is actually engineering. We've got a number of Jordanians doing engineering, maybe more at the masters and the masters by research, but it's definitely something that's attracted the interest of Jordan from my own sort of promotion trips that I've done. Okay, so and there's some other courses that we have. These are actually 3-year courses, so it's called a Bachelor of Technology, but there's one in aviation, one in motorsports, and then another one in engineering. The aviation, that's not aerospace, that's aviation. So that's people that might be interested in going into the aviation industry. So, you know, they might want to become a pilot, but they also want to have a degree, so they can do a Bachelor of Aviation so that they've got a degree as well. And all our courses are accredited by Engineers Australia, which is the national accrediting body for engineers. And they're also recognised by what's called the Washington Accord. So they have global accreditation or recognition, and Australian as well. Sorry, it's a bit late in the afternoon, so I'm not speaking so well. This is, so we've got medical and health sciences. We don't do medicine, but we do have other courses, for example, a Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Science, which is the focus of this, and you can see the majors there: applied chemistry, data science, forensic science. But the outcome of this is laboratory science. So you know, like this is huge in the world at the moment. People with these skills, these are the ones that are doing all those like analysis of COVID, the COVID tests, and doing the analysis, like the strains of the virus and so forth. All that work going in the background would be like people that do biomedical science. So it's definitely becoming more popular. But we have health science as well with different areas, like more like health promotion, occupational health and safety as majors. We actually do sports science. We're in the top 100. Top 100 according to QS for sports science. So we actually used to have there's a well-known Jordanian lecturer that we had in Perth, who's now moved on to another university teaching sports science. But yeah, look, these are the people. These are the people that do this course, and they work with like the high-level athletes or teams or so forth. It's that really high-level science for elite athletes. And then we've got we do have a course called Bachelor of Medical Science. We have had students that have done that course. Then they've gone on to apply for graduate medicine at another university in Perth called Notre Dame University. So it's not a pathway, but students have actually used that Bachelor of Medical Science, graduated, and they've gone into postgrad medicine and become doctor. We've got OT, paramedical science. So this is medical, the people that drive ambulance, first scene of accidents and so forth. So it's quite a niche course. We're one of a few universities in Australia that offer it, as well as speech pathology. So we do have a wide range for health sciences. And then lastly, I'm going to talk a bit about, these are computer science and cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a really growing area, and it's got a huge shortage in Australia and globally for cybersecurity. So maybe in the past people would do like software engineering, IT, but I'll tell you the next big thing now is cybersecurity. So 3-year degree. Final semester is some sort of work integrated learning. For the better students, they'll actually get an internship with the company, but really good area to be going into at the moment, cybersecurity, because it's just such a growth area. Just can't get enough people graduated for the jobs. We also have environmental science, which is, an interesting, course for the world now. Especially in Australia, it's a big focus, especially like in those industries, mining, oil and gas. They need environmental scientists to do, they do work at the start, they monitor during the time, they're involved in, returning it to normal at the end of a life cycle of the mine or maybe the oil well or so forth. So there's a lot of application from environmental scientists, and it pays well. But you can see we also have a Bachelor of Science, and there's different specializations. I point out data science is another really big growing area now. It's like sort of next generation future job, data science, given the way, data science, you learn the skills, you can apply it to like marketing, you can apply it to, health, all sorts of different areas with the skills of data science, because it's about working with big data sets and translating that so people can use it to make decisions and so forth. Businesses, many different people using data science now. So, that's another area of interest. So I mentioned cybersecurity, I talked about environmental science, and I've picked out data science as well, which is a major of the Bachelor of Science. And with all these courses, you can, by all means, that's Mira. She can help you, and of course, she can always ask me questions if you need to know some specifics. So the minimum requirement is an IELTS 6 with no band less than 6, but you can also do it like I forget, NOS. Mira, what is it? Is it what sort of education system is it that you do? Sorry, I forgot. Just have to remind me.
We have 3 different curriculums. We have the national stream, IB diploma, and the A levels for sure. Okay.
All right. So thanks, Mira. So if you're doing the Jordanian stream, then you would need to do an IELTS to show English. But if you're doing IB, then that actually we can look at the English within IB to meet the English requirements. And also if you're doing A levels, O-level English can actually be used to meet the English requirement as well. So I just want to let you know that there are, you do need to meet English, but it can be done within IB and within O-levels, you can actually meet the English, but you need to get in, you need the A-levels to actually get into study. And yeah, so that's that. Although I can't remember whether Jordan, in terms of how it's rated by the Australian government at the moment, whether it's level 2 or level 3, I can't remember, because it might be if it's level 2, that means, because if it's level 3, it means that you do need to show English for the visa, which is separate now to our English requirements. There's university English and there's the visa. So it might be that you can meet the English for us one way or another without doing like an IELTS test or a TOEFL test, but it might be that you still need it for the visa. I can find out, and that's where I always think where it's possible maybe to engage with an agent, an education agent, obviously going to Mira first, but, education agents can help, with visas, with the student visa, which is really important. There are, unfortunately, some Jordanians get their visas rejected. So, it's a bit particular the way that you go about applying for an Australian visa. I'd suggest don't try it, just do it yourself. You need some sort of advice and guidance by somebody that knows what they're doing to help you with the visa. But yeah, so it may be that you're required or maybe not, but if you start going down that process and doing investigation, you can find out, or I'm happy to help you as well, no problems. I just don't know, because it changes all the time. We're a level 1 university, so we've got the highest rating from a sort of a government point of view at the moment, and it means that you require less documentation to get the visa to come to us, but it just depends also what the rating of Jordan is at the moment, and I don't know off the top of my head. Haven't looked into it too deeply in a while. Look, I won't go into this, but there is what's called study abroad. You can actually come for like a semester, or, even while you're studying, you can come and do a semester, and it's as little as about, like in Australian dollars, this is going to be a lot of money, but 5,000-6,000 Australian dollars, you can actually come and for a semester and do a semester of study. And then this would be your university in Jordan. So something to think about. It's just that we do have study abroad, or, it could potentially be possible to come at the end of, come and do a semester, but you probably want to be enrolled in a Jordanian university because you want to credit it back to your study. But just want to let you know that we don't have to come and do the full 3 years. You can come and do what's called study abroad. This is very popular with European students. We have quite a number that come and do it just for like a semester. But, definitely it could be something from Jordan as well. That's just our on-campus accommodation. So we have on-campus accommodation and there's off-campus as well. So it shows you that generally with the on-campus, it's, students have their own rooms. They share bathrooms, and there's like a sort of a living space. That's like I think that might be different to the actual accommodations, but it just gives you a bit of an idea. But what you can see there, it's very clean, very modern, very well run, very safe. There's people looking after it. So like in the Australian way, boys and girls do mix, like in a dorm. They have their own rooms, but they do mix because that's the Australian style. But I mean, it can be that there's only girls or only boys. In the case, there's like a sort of shared, each has their own bedroom, but they use a common space. So, but we do have that. We also have off-campus accommodation. Normally in WA Perth is quite easy to get. At the moment, a lot of people came home at the time of the pandemic, so the vacancy rate is very low. But I think once the borders open, it should start to normalise. People will move on, because in normal times it's quite easy to find accommodation. It does cost, so like you can get as low as $100 a week Australian dollars for on-campus, because we have some specials with some of our own campus accommodation. But look, generally, I think maybe depending on how many people are sharing a house, but let's say $150 a week, you could pretty much cover rent. Maybe you're sharing with 2 or 3 other people, around about 150 Australian dollars a week for rent. I didn't mention in these slides, but on a student visa, you can work part-time. So you can work on average 20 hours a week or 40 hours a fortnight. Because there's been so few people, and so people are so desperate for workers at the moment, the government have relaxed that in certain areas like hospitality, and I believe maybe the sort of aged care as well, where they've allowed students to work more than the 20 hours. So they probably were working like almost full time while they're doing their study. So the minimum wage in Australia at the moment is around about $17 an hour, possibly more. So if you do the math, 20 hours a week, it is I've never had students that complain to me that they can't live on their part-time work money. And during break times when they're not studying, they can work unlimited. So, they can work as many jobs as they like. I mentioned the economy in Western Australia is great at the moment. So when the economy is good, it generally means that there's part-time work that's quite easy to find because we have a smaller population. So especially at the moment with the borders shut, I can imagine that it would be very, very easy to find work. And I believe it'll be like that for some time in Perth. And it will pick up in other parts as well. Like, at the moment, no businesses are open here in Melbourne. We'll probably open up in about 2 weeks or so. So it's pretty depressed. Sydney's opened up already. Other parts of Australia have done not as good as Perth, but not so bad. So that's that part-time work rule is for all of Australia, not just in Perth. Okay, so I'm almost finished, and I was going to talk about, so Jordanians automatically get what we call an undergraduate scholarship if they start in 2022. At the moment, we do them year by year. So at the moment, they're confirmed for 2022. So what it means is if someone's on a Jordanian passport, they'll get 20% off the rack rate of the cost of the course. So it's automatic. It just happens at the time of admission. The scholarship will be on the offer letter. So in terms of like costs, so for example, like an engineering course at ECU is about 30,000 Australian dollars a year, but with the 20%, it will come down to around 24 up to maybe maximum 25,000 for a year, and those are 4 years. Cybersecurity course, which I mentioned, is around about 32, 33. So with the discount, that's about $7,000 off. So it'd be around about $26,000, $27,000 a year. So it's quite a substantial saving. Not every country gets it. So I know maybe at NOS there might be some other nationalities. So it really depends on nationalities. Like Jordanians get it, Egyptians get it. Certain nationalities, but unfortunately some nationalities don't get it. So it depends on nationality. But I can say Jordanian does get it, and also there's a master's scholarship which I won't go into, saying 20% off the first year on a Jordanian passport for that. But you do, if you Google, you'll find the scholarships, the international scholarships, or if you email me, I can give you any information that you need about it at all. Finally, look, I want to talk about this is the opening of borders in Australia, if you've got any interest. So when we get to 80% double dose of the adult population of 16 and over, that's when things start to happen, and we're getting close to that. We're at 65% or a bit higher now. So we're close. They say that it's going to happen in November. We're going to get to 80%. There's already talk about the international borders opening up. First, they're going to bring all the Australians back that haven't been able to get back. There's a lot of people stuck overseas, and then it'll be about the, different, and the international students are going to be in one of those first groups too. The ones that got stuck offshore, and, I guess commencing students coming into February. So finally, after a long time, our borders are going to start to open due to the vaccination rates in Australia. Perth is going to be a bit longer. Perth's probably not going to be open until, probably around about April next year. That's when we're planning to go back to Perth from Melbourne. But it looks like we're starting to see information coming from the government communication, and I feel quite confident that Perth will be open for July next year. People will be able to come on shore, but we have had students commence online. It hasn't been so popular from Jordan, but certainly maybe places closer to home, like in Southeast Asia and China. The Chinese are very happy to study online. So we do have quite a number of people. I've got people in Egypt. We've got people in UAE studying online. We've got a whole bunch of people in Oman. So we do have people in the region that are online, and we do it really well. We actually do give a higher discount for online study, but I think for this group, I can imagine that you'll be getting results next year, and might be looking to come on shore. So in general, in Australia, we start in February and July. February is sort of seen as the big starting date. So, because we have Christmas, so our year is a bit different. So, it was always, for me when I was growing up, the start of the school year was in February, but we do have we have mid-year intake as well, which is July. some universities in Australia actually have 3 intakes because they do trimesters. So, you know, you can actually start at 3 different times in the year. But at ECU, we have semesters, so we have 2. But again, I wanted to let you know about, you know, that each university is going to have its own way of doing things. So in general, you know, it's similar how we go about things, but then you'll find, you know, some universities, like there's one in here in Melbourne called Victoria University that teach in block mode, which is amazing. So you do a unit in a block, and you do it, you do block, so it's block, 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 block. So they don't even use a semester system; they've got their own system as well. So yeah, and it's always changing. Universities are always trying new and different things, trying to, you know, some students want to get here and finish their study quickly. Others are happy to take longer. So we try and cater for different desires, you know, with the way that we do our education. And I'm pretty sure, so I'm not going to go into that because we don't need to. So that is my presentation. That's me. So I hope I didn't speak too fast.
Adam. Thank you, Adam, so much for the amazing presentation. Very informative. I would open up 10 minutes for Q&A. So parents or students, if you have questions, you may ask them now. إذا بس نرفع raise hand على طول.
Nader has a question.
Yeah,
please ask.
Nader.
Yes, hello.
Please ask.
Hello. Good morning. I wanted to ask about the A-levels,
yes,
the acceptance.
Sorry.
Yes, the full A-levels. So is Arabic accepted with math and ICT for software engineering and cybersecurity?
Okay, so how many units are you talking about? Sorry, I didn't talk about that. That's a good thing. That's a good question. So look, the way we work out entry is we want a minimum of 2 A-levels. Okay. But we do count, if you've got 3, we'll count 3. But the way we do it is if your child gets an A, we give them 5 points. And if they get a B, it's 4. C is 3, D is 2, and E is 1. Okay. So look, for something like cybersecurity, yeah. So some courses have prerequisites. So for example, engineering, you do need to have like maths and a science, I believe either chemistry or physics. So some do have prerequisites, but most courses don't actually have prerequisite. Although I believe it's good if they have maths. You know, I think it's really good if they've done maths if they're going into, like, say, going into IT. But yeah, so you don't need, probably, as long as, so I think, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember I have to look. If you got a child and they're doing 3 A levels and they get 3 C's, all right, that will generally, for ECU, that would probably get you into a lot of courses with 3 C's. Okay, so because 3 C's means 9, that's 9, and 9 should, some courses will have a higher requirement. So for example, like maybe, you know, speech pathology or paramedicine courses that are very popular, they'll have a higher requirement. But I think on average, like a C average would get you into most courses. But that's ECU. Now that way that I just said, the way like A is 5, B is 4, C is 3, D is 2, E is 1, and you know, we generally look at 3 units. But you know, if they've done 2 A levels, Arabic, I don't think we could include Arabic with that question, because there's no relevance of Arabic, you know, to the system. But you know, it could be that as long as there's like maybe 2 others, and say, you know, the student does well in those 2 others, then it might probably, they could use those to get direct entry. Okay. But then like obviously some look, that's just ECU, but that system that I said, most universities will use that, from my knowledge, because I've worked in a few. But some universities, well, yeah. Sorry.
So if you have full math, a full math, and a full ICT.
Yes.
It works.
So
it works.
That's 2 full A levels. It works.
Yes, it works. And if they've got a C or better in their O-level English, I think it's a C or better. Bingo. So look, so that your child, could could probably apply for quite a few universities in Australia, and you would. I think you'll have met requirements to get in to different courses.
Yeah.
So
But okay, I need you to keep the Arabic full.
Mm-hmm.
To keep his options opened.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, don't not do the Arabic. Don't not do it. Arabic's
No,
great. It's just don't sorry. Don't not do it. But
right.
yeah, just in terms, I don't think we'd use it, in that calculation. We don't use sort of like what we call foreign languages, but obviously, that's just in our little part of the world where we don't speak Arabic, we speak English. So yeah.
All right.
Adam, we have to do it because it's our mother language. That's why.
Of course, and it's a beautiful language. I love it. I love it. I've spent a lot of time in the Middle East now for the last 5 or 6 years, and when I hear people speaking Arabic here in Melbourne, I just go, I know it now. I can hear it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
No
problems.
Any other questions? I don't see raised hands, so yeah, Shwihat family, please go.
Thank you for presentation, but I need to ask about the environmental engineering. What you are presenting is only science, yes?
Yeah, we do. No, we have engineering. Just off the top of my head, we actually do have a stream in environmental engineering. My only concern is whether it's open to international students or not. So I'm not going to go back on the slides, but look, maybe what I'll do is I'll do a bit of investigation. I'll let Mira know. Okay, so maybe if you can communicate with Mira. We do have engineering. They're 4-year degrees. They're Bachelor of Engineering honours. We have like at least 8 streams that I presented of different types of engineering. I'll just have to double check with the environmental engineering. I think we do have it. I'm not sure whether it's open to international students, but I'll let Mira know.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
It's about environmental engineering with Shwihat.
Yeah, I'm just going to find out.
What's the name of the student, please? Shwihat family.
Maria.
For Maria. Okay, تمام. Okay, I'll get back to you. بخبر Maria على طول أكيد once I receive the information.
Okay, but I'm checking the website. That is not available. That's what I'm asking.
Okay, I'll double check.
Yeah, sometimes they put it under a minor or بطريقة ما بتكون مبينة على الويب So
let us check.
Let us check.
Okay.
We'll check. We'll check and give it. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? So I suppose everything is covered for our students interested in Australia. Adam, I can't thank you enough, and always looking forward to have you with us in every event that we have. So I hope
face to face,
enjoy the next time.
Face to face. I can't wait to come and be like just I really hope to have that experience again. I'd love to come on campus.
Thank you very much, and have a good day for the rest of your day in Australia. It's late now.
Okay, yeah. No worries. All right.
Everyone. يعطيكم العافية.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye, Adam. Take care.
Bye-bye. See you.